To determine the meaning and example of qualitative and quantitative, it helps us to collect data either numerically or otherwise. It also helps us in classification, organization, and summarization. It helps us in drawing general conclusion. Last but not least, statistics also help in the task of evaluation. There are two general types of variable included in statistics, which are qualitative variables and quantitative variables. In this video, we'll define each of these variables and provide examples. Generally, there are two basic types of variables that we come across in statistics. The first type are known as qualitative variables and the second types are known as qualitative variables. A qualitative variable is used to describe something that is either categorical or non-numeric. A good way to think about qualitative variables is first four letters of the word qual, standing for quality. Common qualitative variables can include things like eye color, gender, religious affiliation, and even your actual major in university. The important things, the commonality here with a qualitative variable is that they are non-numeric in nature. They are not describing the amount of something, but rather they are describing a type of something, if you will.
So really our focus here is on the non-numeric, is finding out which to find particular measure they are, not necessarily the quantity within any particular measure, although we can certainly go there. Now, a quantitative variables works in a very similar fashion, with the exception of the fact that we are quantitative variables, but we are focusing on how much or how many of something. Some common examples of quantitative examples can include everything from a company revenues on an income statement. It can even include the age of employee. It can include salary of employees. It can even include things like IQ. Now, quantitative variables can fall into two specific categories. They either fall into what we call discrete variables or continuous variables.
A discrete variable is one that can only assume a certain values, and what happens are the certain gaps that exist between these values. A common example of discrete variable would be the number of rooms in house. So if I were to ask you how many rooms there are in your house, you will have to give me a discrete variable. You will tell me something along the lines of maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 rooms. And the reason that is the discrete variable is because you are only allowed to select certain option there. You can't go between 1 and 2, so say 1.25 or 1.75. And that's the reason why it's a discrete variable, because you can't select. There are gaps between those values. We can only select those figures, those 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, of course. Now, a continuous variable is one that can assume any value within a certain range. So a common continuous variable would be profit, and profit can be very, very specific. You are not only predisposed to certain selection. There's not certain gaps, so they can be very detailed. That will be an example of that. You can also say that square footage in a house could be a continuous variable as well. Although typically we do round those things since we don't want to be concerned with a smaller details, but ultimately that would be a continuous variable. Thank you for watching this video on the different type of statistic variable.